Hey guys, and welcome back to Z3 Cubing. This is the new Gan Mirror Cube, and this is my fastest time ever solving it at around 34 seconds. Now this shape mod is actually pretty easy to solve once you wrap your mind around it. On the inside, it's the exact same puzzle as a normal Rubik's Cube, you're just matching up the different heights of pieces rather than different colors. However, that doesn't mean you can solve it just as fast. Because it's so much more difficult to recognize which piece goes where on first glance, it actually takes, in my case, over 3 times as long to solve it. Now this solve is nowhere near world class. I believe the world record is under 10 seconds, but that's fine because I'm not trying to break any speed records. Instead, I'm going to be undertaking a much different kind of challenge. Today, I'm going to try and solve this Gan Mirror Cube in as many unique and perhaps ridiculous ways as possible. Now the first of those challenges was to just solve the cube normally, which good timing because I just finished doing that. So next up, let's try out another classic Mirror Cube challenge, which is solving it blindfolded. So I'm just getting the puzzle all scrambled up. Now this isn't going to be like a normal blind solve where you have to memorize the entire cube beforehand. No, because you can feel the pieces around the cube, that means you can actually go into it totally blind and still solve it without too much extra effort. So let's go ahead and begin in 3, 2, 1, and go. The first thing I'm going to do is reach around the cube and feel for the largest center. I think that's this one right here, which means that the opposite one is the thinnest center, the one with the logo on it. And now I can feel around for some edges that are also super thin. So like this one right here, and now figure out where that one goes just based on which center it lines up with. Alright, had a little bit of trouble finding that last one, but I think we got all 4 cross edges in. Now we're going to do something similar for the first layer, just feel around for the different corners. And this one is pretty thin right here. Try it out, and nope, that's the wrong one. How about this slot? Okay, that's the right one. Alright, so with a little bit of trial and error, the first layer was no problem. Second layer is going to be a little bit more tricky. Basically, we're going to have to feel around for these top edges and find one that sort of fits next to one of these centers, so like this one right here. Figure out which direction it goes. So it goes this direction, so now we can do that alg to put that edge in. Okay, it took me quite a while to actually find that last edge, but I think we now have our second layer complete. Now we can go ahead and do beginner's method on the top layer. So let's go ahead and do this alg. Now we have the top cross. We can line up the rest of the edges. There we go, and now I think we have these 2 corners sticking out right here. So I'm just gonna align those with a basic beginner's method algorithm. Okay, here we go. We have 3 corners left. They're all oriented correctly. I think these 2 are lined up on this side, which means we can just do this A-perm like this. And there we go, the cube is solved in 4 minutes and 30 seconds, actually slower than my best blind time. That's kind of funny. But I think with some practice, you could actually get that under, say, 2 or 3 minutes pretty consistently. It's not as hard as it looks. I would definitely recommend trying it. Here's another classic challenge, a mirror cube in a mirror. The concept is pretty simple. You can solve the cube just like normal, but you're only allowed to look at the cube's reflection in a mirror, not the cube itself. So to help out, I made a little barrier here, so I cannot see the cube at all underneath me. I can only see its reflection over there. So I got the cube scrambled up. Let's also get our timer out here, and I guess let's begin with 15 seconds of inspection. So let's look for, oh my gosh, that's weird. There's our first center. There's a couple of edges that we can put in. 3, 2, 1, and go. And oh my gosh, which direction do I go? Everything's inverted. This is so weird. Okay, there we go. We got our cross complete. This is a lot harder than I remember. I haven't done a challenge like this for many, many years. Every move you do, you just sort of have to test it and see like, is that the direction I want? No, it's that direction. Okay, so I just finished the first layer here, and I'm kind of remembering the strategy now. Basically, you just sort of have to find a piece and find the slot it goes into, figure out where they are with your hands, and then basically do it as if you're doing a blind solve. This is a lot harder than I remember. So there's the first 2 layers. Looks like we got a really easy case in the last layer. So these 2 corners have to be rotated. Wait, these 2 corners. Oh great, I just gave myself a G-perm. Okay, can we actually do this? So we got these 2 corners right here, and these 2 pieces right here. And so I just have to think about it in my head and do this alg. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I actually got that algorithm right. That took 3 minutes and 44 seconds. Like I said, it's almost just like doing a blind solve, except you get a little bit of extra help with recognition. A lot more difficult than I remember. I would definitely recommend. Okay, now before things get any crazier, and trust me, because it's about to get really crazy, let's not forget the basics like one-handed. So let's go ahead and do some inspection and begin in 3, 2, 1, and go. Normally it takes me about twice as long to solve a cube with one hand compared to 2 hands, so let's see if that holds true with the mirror cube. So I'm about halfway through F2L here, and things are going a little bit slower than I thought. The one thing that I underestimated is just how much more difficult it is to hold this thing compared to a normal cube. It is very tricky with one hand, let's just say. Okay, F2L is complete. Let's see if I can do this OLL completely. This might not work out, but it's worth the risk. Okay, we did the OLL, and now we have an F-perm, which is probably even more of a challenge, but let's try it. Ah, there we go. Glad I've been practicing my one-handed last layer algs. That was a minute 48, which isn't too bad. I could definitely do better, especially if I had a surface to work on, but not too hard. Or why not on top of a 13,000 foot mountain? 3, 2, 1, and go. Cross is done. F2L is done. The wind is picking up. And it looks like we have a T-perm to finish things up. And there we go. 50 seconds, not too bad. Or how about while skiing? 3, 2, 1, go. And there we go. And finally, it's time for everyone's favorite former WCA event, feet. This is going to be difficult and probably very slow. So let's do some quick inspection here. And 3, 2, 1, and go. Oh my gosh, I got a pretty lucky cross and it still took me almost 2 minutes, so this is gonna be quite a bit of a struggle. I'm gonna try and do F2L just to save some moves here. So I'm still getting pretty lucky. I somehow skipped an F2L pair, but I guess I really underestimated just how difficult it would be to turn this thing with your feet, especially because sometimes on the bottom layer there's a really big piece and a really small piece, so things just do not line up like this. It's really hard to turn it when it's not flush with the ground. Well, I somehow managed to do that random OLL correctly, so that's incredibly lucky, and looks like we have an A-perm, so also very easy case there. Well, I guess we lost a center cap, but by WCA rules that is fine, and there we go. Just before the timer ends, we got a 926. That was even more difficult than I thought it would be. Yeah, turning during a normal foot solve is hard, but at least the cube stays the same shape as you're turning it. This thing, though, is just impossible. Anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed all of these ridiculous challenges, and I'll see you guys next time.